Stop scrolling for a second, because this situation isn't just messy. It's layered, emotional, and surprisingly revealing about how relationships, respect, and public image collide in the age of social media. What looked like a simple birthday post turned into a full-blown cultural moment involving Remy Ma, Papoose, and Claressa Shields, three people with history, presence, and very different ways of handling the spotlight. Let's break it down properly, because beneath the viral reactions and dramatic commentary, there's a deeper story about timing, intention, and perception. The moment that sparked everything seemed harmless on the surface. Remy Ma posted a birthday message for Papoose, someone who wasn't just her ex, but her husband, her partner through some of the toughest chapters of her life, and a man whose loyalty became part of hip-hop folklore. In the post, she described him as humble and dedicated, words that don't just float casually in a caption. They carry weight, especially when tied to years of shared history. And that's where things shift. Because Papoose is no longer with Remy Ma. He has moved on, and he is now publicly linked to Claressa Shields, a woman whose identity is built on strength, confidence, and directness. This is someone who has dominated in the boxing world, becoming a two-time Olympic gold medalist and one of the most decorated fighters of her generation. She's not known for staying silent, especially when something touches her personal life. So when Remy Ma's post started circulating, it didn't just sit quietly on a timeline. It spread. Fast. Screenshots moved across platforms. Blogs picked it up. Fans began tagging Claressa. And in today's internet culture, tagging isn't passive. It's an invitation, sometimes even a provocation. It pulls someone into the conversation whether they ask to be there or not. Now here's where interpretation takes over. To some people, Remy's message looked respectful. A mature acknowledgement of someone who played a major role in her life. No bitterness, no shade, just recognition. In a different era, that might have been the end of it. But in the current landscape, context is everything. Calling a man humble and dedicated, especially a man who publicly proved those traits during your most vulnerable years, doesn't read as neutral to everyone. For many observers, it felt intentional. Not necessarily aggressive, but not entirely detached either. It felt like a reminder of history, of a bond that existed long before the present situation. And that's exactly how some people believe Claressa Shields saw it. Because from her perspective, she's not just watching an ex post a birthday message. She's seeing a public statement about her current partner, broadcast to millions, framed in a way that highlights qualities tied deeply to a past relationship. That's not easy to ignore. So she didn't. Claressa responded in the way that aligns with everything people know about her. Direct, clear, and unapologetic. She made it known that Papoose is her man. No ambiguity, no coded language, no subtlety. Just a statement that established her position in the present. And instantly, the internet had what it loves most, contrast. On one side, you had Remy Ma's composed, almost poetic acknowledgement of the past. On the other, Claressa Shields' firm declaration of the present. And in the middle, you had Papoose, the man both narratives revolve around, remaining relatively quiet. That contrast is what turned this into a full-blown moment. But here's where it gets interesting beyond the surface-level drama. This situation exposes how differently people interpret the same action based on their position in a relationship dynamic. From Remy Ma's point of view, the post could genuinely be about respect. You don't erase years of history just because a relationship ends. Especially not when that history includes loyalty at a level most people rarely experience. A birthday message might simply be a way of acknowledging that without reopening old doors. From Claressa Shields' perspective, though, the same post might feel like a boundary being tested. Not necessarily crossed, but approached closely enough to require a response. Because when something is public, silence can sometimes be interpreted as acceptance. And Claressa is not someone who lets others define her narrative. Then there's Papoose. Interestingly, he didn't escalate things. Reports and observations suggest he handled it calmly, acknowledging his birthday, maintaining composure, and avoiding any public back and forth. That aligns with his long-standing image, steady, loyal, and not easily pulled into chaos. In a situation where emotions could have easily spilled over, his restraint became part of the story too. What really fuels this entire situation isn't just the people involved, it's the environment they're operating in. Social media has completely changed how relationships play out in public. In the past, something like this might have been a private exchange. A text, a call, maybe even a quiet acknowledgement that never reached the public eye. Now everything is amplified. A single post becomes content. Content becomes conversation. Conversation becomes narrative. And narrative becomes something people feel entitled to interpret, analyze, and even take sides on. That's exactly what happened here. Some people sided with Remy Ma, arguing that maturity should allow space for respectful acknowledgement of the past. Others backed Claressa Shields, saying that protecting your present relationship sometimes requires setting clear, visible boundaries. And then there were those who focused on Papoose, pointing out how rare it is for someone to be described as humble and dedicated by an ex while also being publicly claimed by a current partner, without any visible negativity from him. It's a unique position to be in. There's also a deeper question underneath all of this. When does respect for the past start to feel like a statement about the present? Because that line is incredibly thin. A message can be genuine and still be interpreted as strategic. It can be kind and still feel loaded. And once it enters the public space, the original intention almost becomes secondary to how it's received. That's what makes situations like this so complex. Remy Ma's post might have been exactly what it looked like, a respectful birthday message. But because of timing, audience, and context, it carried additional meaning whether she intended it or not. Claressa Shields' response might have been seen as assertive or even excessive depending on who you ask. But from her perspective, it was likely about clarity, making sure there was no confusion about where things stand now. And Papoose, by staying measured, reinforced the very qualities both women referenced in different ways. In the end, what makes this situation so compelling isn't just the drama, it's the reflection of real-life dynamics playing out on a massive stage. People don't stop having history just because they move on. Feelings evolve, but respect, memories, and shared experiences don't disappear overnight. At the same time, new relationships come with their own expectations, boundaries, and emotional realities. Balancing those two things, past and present, is already complicated in private life. Doing it in front of millions? That's a completely different challenge. So what looked like a simple birthday post turned into something much bigger. A moment that forced people to think about how we define respect, how we communicate boundaries, and how quickly perception can reshape intention in the digital age. And whether you see it as drama, miscommunication, or just three strong personalities navigating a complicated situation, one thing is clear. This wasn't just about a birthday. It was about history, identity, and the unspoken rules of how we acknowledge both in public